High performers' brains are different, and that's both strength and a vulnerability. There's this myth amongst CEOs and successful people that they're invincible, okay, and their brains can just really carry on and they don't ever have to stop. And that's very dangerous because these people, their brain is just different. It's metabolically different, it's biologically different, and they drive beyond a safe level. And there's reasons why.
And when, Sabine, you mentioned their brains are biologically different, in what sense?
Let's go basics. Okay, start with the genetics. There's a gene called the COMT gene, as you know, and that gene influences the way we reuptake our dopamine, in particular in our prefrontal cortex, the front part of our brain. And the prefrontal cortex, its main function is about executive functioning. And if you have more dopamine, which is a very positive hormone in your brain, in that prefrontal cortex, you're going to be somebody that is a risk taker. You're going to be the first one that is going to seek an opportunity. You're going to be the first one that is going to be managing through really difficult periods, whilst other ones might actually just fear away or collapse. So you have this invincible kind of attitude to challenges. And you're the first one to grab an opportunity and to work through difficult periods. So it's a very positive to have that high dopamine in your brain. However, what also happens is that you're the last one to see the pitfalls. You're the last one to say, I've had enough. So the question we ask ourselves and we expect the answers from, it's what do we measure? Okay, how do we stop this early on before they reach that precipice and they're going to fall off? Because that's exactly what a burnout is. How do we get the data that makes them realize this is time to actually start bringing in a change? And a change is not changing your job or is changing your life at all, but it's just making sure you compensate for the effects of that high dopamine on your system. Often we see these people, isn't it, that they're overstressed, yet they're not aware of their stress whatsoever. That's what they thrive on. And we know stress is fine and should be there and can be very healthy. It is the uncompensated stress that is the problem. They want the problem solving. They're having fun, actually, the way they live, okay, burning the candle on both ends. There is a price to pay. And what we're doing in clinic every day is just trying to avoid that they would ever pay that price. And it's exciting in a way, because it is not what most people would be thinking is, I need to change my job, okay, but that's what I enjoy or makes me successful. And of course it is. And we don't want to change that. We want all the benefits of that high dopamine. We just want to make sure that we prevent that burnout, whether it is a physiological burnout from energy or whether it is a cancer, whether it's a cognitive decline or autoimmune disease across the board. And it's by understanding how this high dopamine is affecting this particular individual that we can start compensating for.
If we think of stress almost as a bucket and these individuals are pouring more and more into that bucket, we need to be the ones to say, well, actually, what's contributing to that and can we influence it? And what can we do to help prevent that overflow, which then leads to the burnout and the fallout? And it's our job to say, well, we need to present the data, we need to talk through the data, we need to help them to understand the impact of what's happening from a physiological point of view. And it may be for a short period of time, we restructure that exercise program so that it's conducive to metabolizing that stress hormone, that cortisol, and not exacerbating it.
And that's where the data helps, isn't it? Because they perhaps naturally feel and say, no, this is what I need to do. I need to just push hard in every aspect of my life. And then when you can show the data and say, well, this is what you're doing, this is what should be happening, I feel it's very, very motivational eventually to say, I can physically see, because there are people that react to data in the main as well and say, fine, this is what I need to achieve. This is the advice I got to actually get there. And then they start feeling the benefit, okay, and everything kind of falls into place. So we've got clients that we say, meditation is really what you need. And they say, it's impossible. I will never be able to sit still. And now it's their biggest source of energy almost, isn't it? beautiful to see when you really can start managing and preventing those problems to occur, and whilst they're able to actually use the benefit of that very high dopamine. We only wish we all had it.
I think we also need to look at these individuals and the time that they have to focus on their health and maintaining their resilience. And that's where investing in time and resource and energy in what matters and what makes a difference is critical, because you don't want to be wasting time on elements that don't impact your health.
Exactly.